Rafael dos Anjos threatens to annihilate Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz in the same damn night in the UFC right now, live from South Korea, while President Obama has hit North Korea with the strongest sanctions in U.S. history. Tommy Razorstein, the best MMA analyst on YouTube today, Rafael dos Anjos, the lightweight champion of the world, he's confused. He says he will beat McGregor and Diaz in the same night. Let's get into this article. Lightweight from Fox Sports. Lightweight champion Rafael dos Anjos is not happy with the reported main event of UFC 200, a rematch between Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz. The Brazilian called out both fighters on Twitter shortly after the announcement was made. Fox Sports sources confirm, makes it official. Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz 2, verbally agreed for UFC 200. Rafael dos Anjos, 25-7. McGregor versus Diaz 2 makes no sense. I will beat these two guys in the same night. Dos Anjos was scheduled to fight McGregor at UFC 196 before dropping out of the bout due to a broken foot. Before that, however, Dos Anjos had won his previous 5 fights, including a 3-round beatdown of Diaz at UFC Fight Night in Phoenix. RDA, Rafael dos Anjos, has made it known that he asked the UFC for Diaz or welterweight champion Robbie Lawler, but was told the UFC had different plans. So if Dos Anjos does get booked at UFC 200, he'll likely be fighting under a matchup between a guy he was supposed to fight, Conor McGregor, and a guy he has soundly beaten. And then, viewers of Enter the Arena, you look at Rafael dos Anjos' face. He's pissed off. He's confused. He's befuddled. What about the champ? Coming from Sports Joe, you can understand how it would be easy for Rafael dos Anjos to feel like he's being ignored. The UFC lightweight champion is exactly that, the champion. And yet, one injury in his buildup, a broken foot, to UFC 196 and the rest of the promotion has seemingly moved on and, dare say it, forgotten about the Brazilian champion. Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz 2 at UFC 200 at the new T-Mobile 20,000-seat arena is confirmed, is official, and is being targeted. Okay? You have to imagine it will yet again be the main event, and that this time the fight will take place at lightweight. We don't know that for sure, but we've been hearing welterweight also. Lightweight or welterweight, we don't know, but we're trying to figure that out. 2 non-title holders in the division ruling the roost without the need for a championship fight is a smack in the face to Dos Anjos, and he's not happy with the talk. Rafael dos Anjos taking on both Conor McGregor and Diaz on the same night would make history. You know about Pride Fighting Championships and how they used to have the tournament in one night in the UFC. But we have a feeling that he was being slightly tongue-in-cheek with that bravado. His remark didn't go unnoticed, though, and plenty have since come out and disrespected the champ even more. Tommy Razorstein, can you believe that?
I think it's a little tongue-in-cheek. I don't think that he's serious. But, you know, back in the Pride days, that shit happened, man. You know, back in the old days in UFC, that shit happened too.
Yes.
You could have a couple fights in a night, which is insane. That's mad.
What he did.
Yeah. Back in the day, they used to do that. Back in the day, it was crazy, man. I mean, like, now you kind of know what's going on. You know what's expected of you. There's standards. When Anderson Silva broke his leg, it was kind of like a freak accident where you went, oh, okay, well, that doesn't happen often. But back in the day when UFC first started, you had no idea. There's no fucking rules. You were going to walk into a cage and fight somebody. You know, you could die. Like, that was the idea. There were no rules. It was crazy, dude. Like people, one guy got his eye gouged out. Like there was just times where anything was allowed. It was crazy. So those things happened back in the day, and it could happen again. In theory, I mean, you could fight 2 times in one night, but I don't think that will happen. It's a little tongue in cheek and it's a little shit talking, but I don't think it would happen. Rafael dos Anjos can't fight both of them in the same night. Plus, you don't want that, and the reason you don't want that is like you want to match up training camps and everything. You want to have a consistent card. You don't want one person dropping out. It's hard enough to have only 2 people. Now I have 3 people in a round robin. It's no. It gets too confusing.
Sounds like WWE to me.
Yeah. Plus, you don't want to pace yourself either. So, and it's not fair in theory for if Conor does win. Then everyone says, "Oh well, Conor was he didn't have to fight 2 people in one night." So it takes away from the win if you do win. So no, I don't want that to happen. I want straight up 100% training camp for both of them. No complaints, no bullshit excuses, nothing.
Did 100%. We gotta ask you on the spot right now. Did you feel that Rafael dos Anjos was making an excuse with a broken foot, especially hearing that Chris Weidman winning his fight with Luke Rockhold with a broken foot? Do you feel that Rafael dos Anjos should have still showed up at UFC 196?
I wouldn't have, but that's me. I'm not a champion at the lightweight in UFC, so I wouldn't do it. I think it's crazy. I think you should come in there near 100%, but there's a stipulation I think there should be put in place in UFC is that 6 weeks or 8 weeks before the fight, you should have to do like some kind of water aerobics. You know what I mean? Where it's like you're put in a pool and you have training in a pool, and it's standard for everyone. So that way you don't get hurt. And if you break your foot in a pool, you have to explain to Dana White how you broke your foot swimming. You know what I mean? You have to explain to the fans, why'd you break your hand swimming? Now you can explain real easily when you say, well, I broke my hand sparring or I broke my foot sparring. But if you broke your foot in the pool, well, why the fuck did you do that? I think there should be more set, rules for that, so that way people just don't pull out all the time. Because, dude, this is starting to piss me off with the everyone pulling out of fights and bullshit excuses and everything, which I think Cain Velasquez was a complete bullshit excuse. I don't think he was hurt, and I never say that about fighters, but I really think that Cain wasn't hurt. And even though
Fabricio Verdum. Conor said a bunch of
shit for it, but I don't.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I blame Cain on that one because I don't think Cain was hurt. I don't think Cain was hurt at all.
Talking about that, I mean, I did a video, and the video I did was Fabricio Verdum called Conor McGregor a prostitute. Said that he would hit him with a chair if he talked shit to him. This is a heavyweight we're talking about. Why would he have the need to hit him with a chair? Conor is angered the Brazilians and the Brazilian fighters. In fact, when I said the same thing that I said right here on our show, the one Brazilian fan told me to suck his dick. So wow. Listen, with Rafael dos Anjos, he says he is angry. But how can he be angry if he suffered a broken foot and it removed him out of the high-profile fight? 11 days out, Nate Diaz took this fight, and it became the biggest attraction in UFC history, Razorstein. And Dana White said if we did it once, we damn sure can do it again. at the T-Mobile Arena and at 20,000 seat arena. Now, we know that Rafael dos Anjos has a victory over Nate Diaz, and the bout took place at 160, and I think it was 160 and a little bit plus because Diaz missed weight. He beat him by unanimous decision. So he's saying, I got to win over Nate Diaz. I was going to fight Conor McGregor. How the hell y'all going to move on without me? What's your response to that? His victory over Nate Diaz?
I think that he has a good point there. You know, I mean, he beat Nate and beat him decisively. So if he wants that title shot, or he just wants the title fight, he should have, should be able to. Now, Rafael dos Anjos is going to, defend his belt at 155. I think he should be allowed to. So I think it's bullshit that if he can't, why not? He should be able to have a Conor McGregor fight. It's bullshit. So
now,
it doesn't make any sense. Plus, if it's a welterweight, why a welterweight? Going up into welterweight as a flyweight, as a featherweight, is crazy. I never heard anyone doing this before.
We're getting all speculations. Lightweight, welterweight. This next bout, we're not 100% sure. Catchweight. You said, Razorstein, that it would make sense for this bout to take place at lightweight.
Yeah, it would. I mean, that would be the best. And if Nate can make weight, which I think he can if he has a full training camp, Nate would come in, right, and Conor would come in, I think, probably better than featherweight. He looked pretty good at welter, like at the weigh-in. I mean, he looked healthy. So if he lost weight and went down to 155, from welter, I think that would be pretty good for him. Featherweight is a big cut for him. You see pictures of him at weigh-ins at featherweight, and he's real gaunt looking. He's like sickly looking. So it's tough for him to make that weight at 145. If he goes to 155, I think it would be a nice cut for him. It won't be extreme. So
he looked like a starved Somalian.
Yeah, I know. It's
like he's been starved. Look, Conor McGregor, he is still the featherweight champion of the world, and a lot of people are calling him out. Jose Aldo wants another shot after getting his head bounced off the canvas in 13 seconds. The ultra tough warrior, Frankie Edgar. And look, I'm going to say this, Razorstein. Rafael dos Anjos needs to be more outspoken. He needs to talk. He needs to advertise himself because a lot of people didn't even know who the fuck he was. I'm talking about casual fans, not the hardcore fans like Tommy Razorstein and myself. Oh, hell, we know who Rafael dos Anjos is. He's the one who beat freaking Donald Cerrone. All right. In 86 seconds, you're talking about the cowboy. Yeehaw. He beat him in 86 seconds. Rafael dos Anjos, what did he do? He shocked the world. He broke the orbital bone of Anthony Pettis. So he is insulted. He is confused. He is befuddled. He is baffled. But the fact of the matter is this, Razorstein, he had his opportunity. He is the champion. So since he is the champion, of course, he has big fights in front of him. But I think him speaking out more and advertising himself more will give him more power. What do you think?
You know what? You mentioned Cowboy Cerrone, and I would love to see Conor McGregor fight Cowboy Cerrone.
Cowboy is at welterweight now.
That's a fight I'd rather see than Nate Diaz. Cowboy's a huge 155-pound fighter. Yeah. I mean, it's impressive that he can make that weight. I don't know how, but he's fucking gigantic at that weight class. So at welterweight, he might feel comfortable there.
Yeah, he was victorious against Cowboy versus Cowboy. like you said, Razor Stein, I think Dos Anjos has a lot of, he still has a lot of power. He has a broken foot. He's on the shelf. He has to accept that. He's made a statement by saying he would beat both of them in the same night. That gets his name out there. I think we're in the social media era, just like you talked about Donald J. Trump. He's a man that is a master of social media. He knows what to say. He knows what to do. He knows what to act. And Rafael Dos Anjos putting this out there was a social media statement, even though it's tongue in cheek.
Yeah, and you know what? Conor McGregor beat the living shit out of Rafael Dos Anjos. I'm sorry, Jose Aldo. Sorry, before the fight even started.
Yes.
Beat the shit out of him before the fight even started. I've never seen someone look so bad before a fight. You know, in the cage looking at the floor. So Rafael has to think, you know what? I got to start firing back so I don't end up like that. You know what I mean? You don't want to end up like that. That's, man, that's what he's going to be remembered for, too.
And that's sad because he went years being undefeated. He had a long streak. He was on a pound for pound list, and in 13 seconds, his life changed. Rafael Dos Anjos is being more outspoken. Look at the man's face. He's just in total shock right now. He is, and he's pissed. And he's pissed. Look, UFC 200, July 9th, people have rushed in Razorstein, and I'm telling you, they ran. They literally ran to get these tickets. They want these tickets more than life itself. Okay. And this event is what I'm, you know, breaking news is coming across our desk every single second. I am hearing records are going to be broken. I'm hearing that the publicity for this is going to be amazing, extravagant, and electrifying. And the speculation, anticipation for this bout is deafening, resounding, and overwhelming. And for us just to be talking about it at this stage, you can see that Rafael Dos Anjos wants his name on that card, but he does not want to be underneath the Nate Diaz, a guy that he beat, and Conor McGregor, who is going to fight for his title while he is the champion.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. You don't want to end up like that, though. You don't want to end up like Jose Aldo, man. I'm just sounds. It's just got me in my mind right now. Oh God, this horrible image of him just looking at the floor,
looking down.
Oh,
you're supposed to be looking up.
Yeah, he's terrified. Somebody before a fight. Oh God,
he put Conor on the map. Listen, Razorstein, let's take this time out. We first of all, I want to say thank you to all the fans. The ratings have been going through the roof recently. Listening to GOAT, greatest of all time, the Don Juan Banks, and the best MMA analyst on YouTube today. Go on the Facebook like page. It's over 150,000 people. We cover UFC, boxing, WWE, celebrity news. Everything's on there. And Tommy Razorstein got a lot of things going.
Yeah, things are going good right now. I'm happy.
Razorstein Live. Can you tell people about Razorstein Live in your channel?
Yeah, love to. It's me walking around the streets of South Korea talking about.
Well, I'm about to. We saw the guy. He got 15 years of hard labor. Razorstein, please don't go over there.
I thought about it too, man. I thought about taking the same trip that kid did.
Oh boy!
I thought about it. There's a trip that you can do. Why would you
put yourself in harm's way, Razorstein? We can't have that happening now.
I don't know. Like, to be the greatest, you got to check out everything, right? You got to see what's going on behind the wall.
There.
You don't know what's going on over there. Maybe they have great MMA. You know what I mean? And like we're missing out. We don't know.
That you wanted to go against Kim Jong-il or whatever.
Kim Jong-un.
Un.
Yeah. Anyway, that'd be cool to fight him. But that fight will never.
Just committed a terrorist attack. That is 50 years hard labor.
Wow, I guess
I
15
don't see you
years
if
hard.
I'm a
He's
guy
never
crying.
gonna make it, Don. Don, he'll never make it. If he has to do all 15 years, he'll never make it. Can you imagine having to spend 15 years in North Korea in hard labor? I mean, they wouldn't feed you, and you just die within the first year.
For Tommy, oh God, for Tommy Razorstein, live in South Korea, the Don Juan Banks. Peace.
Peace.